Hello and welcome to the general podcast about general things. I'm Edward.
I'm Scott.
Today we talk about Formula 1 a lot.
Yes, hence the name of this.
Yes,
And
and then
we also talk about technology development.
a lot of that too. And also the idea of halos on iPhones.
Oh yeah, well, for about 30 seconds, so good luck finding that.
It was a little bit less than 30 seconds.
And then we talk about a little bit of SpaceX and
a little bit of SpaceX and landspeed records.
Landspeed records, of course.
Yes.
So if you're interested in that,
Keep listening.
if you're not,
Don't listen. Okay, well, either way, big news this week. Formula 1 cars.
are coming out.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, we are both avid fans of Formula 1, and this week the new 2018 cars have been released. What do you think about the Halo?
Hate it
Yeah, same.
with a passion.
Yeah.
I think it looks disgusting. I saw a POV from Bottas today.
Oh, did you? I haven't seen that.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Mm.
It's really, really, really horrible. And the cars would look stunning.
Stunning without them.
They're
I know.
like much lower and streamlined, and they just look
They look cleaner.
wonderful. And then you've got that.
Do you like the lack of fins on the back now?
Yeah, I do
do.
actually. I noticed
Yeah.
that.
I quite
I like that.
liked it. I think last year, it was kind of cool, but they do look smoother without them.
Yeah.
I think the Halo, the Halo isn't. The
It's
Halo
horrible.
is looking into something that isn't a problem.
It's not a problem. In all honesty, I don't think it would have saved Jules Bianchi's life.
Nope, it wouldn't. It was proved that it wasn't. It was never
Yeah.
going to, because they were like, oh, it can hold the weight of a double-decker bus. Well, the weight, the force put
That he
onto
was
that
driving into.
area.
Yeah, that's a double-decker
taken-
bus without you crashing into it at 120 miles an hour.
Yeah, exactly. Ow.
That's
Uh,
literally... Yeah, all right, maybe it could hold... I doubt it.
Okay, in theory, it could hold a double-decker bus.
Right.
It can hold the, if you place
'Cause
it on top
obviously-
of it slowly. However, if you drop it on top of it, I don't know how that would work. Also,
Well, obviously, if you did it in real life, it would crush the whole car. Halo
Exactly.
might be fine.
Yeah, exactly.
But
It's just
his legs aren't.
Well, yeah, his
His legs are now gone.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't like it at
It-
all.
it is.
It really is pointless.
It
It wouldn't have helped Massa.
Nope.
That would have just went straight through. A visor maybe would have helped Massa. Wouldn't have helped Bianchi. I'd prefer a visor.
But
to be
yeah,
honest.
I would too. But people say it makes them feel nauseous, which I understand because
Yeah.
they're essentially looking through two
But have a
you know,
look
two
at the
screens. But then take off one.
Bottas thing. It's just horrible. I
Mm.
hate it so much.
The thing is that Formula 1. I saw when when the Halo was being first talked about, and it was shortly after Bianchi's death. It wasn't after the accident. I think it was like late 2015. It was shortly it was like late 2015, and one of the executives of the FIA was like, "Yeah, in Formula 1, safety is the number one priority."
Yeah.
And I was like,
It's
"No,
safe.
it's not,
Well,
because if it was, you wouldn't go out."
no. Well, in
You
that
wouldn't-
sense,
you
yeah.
wouldn't- you
If
wouldn't-
safety is number one, you wouldn't do the sport. But
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
what's so good about it, and that's what the drivers like about it.
Yeah,
And
but you
it
take
is
that
safe.
into exactly.
Look at IndyCar.
Yeah.
That's not as
That's
still
not
a
as
motorsport,
safe.
but there's more deaths than that. More
Yeah.
deaths in NASCAR, for sure.
I actually don't know about that.
There's been a few over about the last 10 years.
If we look back to like what's 23 years, 24 years ago, coming up to the anniversary of Ayrton Senna's death,
Mm.
freak accident.
Mm.
Yeah, that was that wasn't that like
Just-
he didn't break any single bones.
No, he just sort of vanished.
Turned off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I just had a thought. Why don't they improve the helmets? Because that
Yeah.
is... Why don't they improve the helmets?
Well, they've got the head restraints and they've got everything. I think it's just like the actual projectiles coming towards them, and in the
But
sport,
the projectiles in that are so small. Like bolts and things. Only maybe it would save a tyre.
yeah,
if a tyre
the
was
only
to
thing it
come
would
off or
save
something.
is a tire.
That's the
But
only
if
thing
you
I can
look
think
at it,
of.
the gap
But has that ever happened to a driver?
yes, in a lower category.
In a lower category, right? Well, in F1 there was that fire extinguisher, wasn't there, where the marshal ran out and
Oh
the
yeah,
marshal
but
died,
then
and so did the driver. didn't he?
Marshall.
Yeah,
Then that's the marshal's fault.
Human error.
Sorry, yeah.
You can't be like,
And do
oh,
you know
let's
what-
introduce the
Do you know
Halo.
what else was human error? A human error.
Jules Bianchi.
Jules Bianchi's
Yeah.
crash.
It's human error.
There's
F1
no-
is human error.
Yeah, exactly. You, like every time, if you set a poll app, there's still human error in it.
Yeah.
It's not perfect. Nothing is.
No.
It's not exactly like you're going to be. It's not lasers, is it?
No.
You know, it's not point and shoot. You are in control of an absolute
beast of a machine.
Yeah, a very powerful, very.
Even when you're driving your car in a public road, it's human error.
Yeah.
And sure, a tyre could bounce off and smash through my windscreen. I'm not going to put a halo on my car.
No, exactly. I'm not going to go
gonna
around wearing a helmet.
Exactly.
So I'm not going to say, well, I'm going to need a roll cage because just in case I roll it. Well, do you know what the
Exactly.
point is there? Don't roll it.
Exactly.
Just drive like a normal human being and you probably won't roll
Yeah.
it. And if you do, it's not worth the risk and the effort and the worrying about it.
No.
Like, if I die in a car accident,
Yeah.
I don't like. It's one of those things. It's not like it's not like I wanted to. It's not like I tried to.
No.
But if I do, don't worry about it because simple fact of the matter is, I know in my head I tried every single thing possible to avoid that. You know, that result.
Yeah.
And if I do die, then not quite fuck it, but it's like
It happens.
yeah, exactly. It's
You don't have someone doesn't have a heart attack and people are like, let's replace
replace hearts. Yeah, let's replace hearts.
Let's redesign hearts.
It's such a knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah.
It's so like, and with knee-jerk reactions, yes, you might fix the actual problem, but you ruin so many other non-problems. You create so many other problems. It negates the benefits. And with the Halo, there was I swear we talked about this before about the rule about you need to get out of your car at a certain rate.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's gone down because of the Halo.
Yeah.
And if you
How
actually,
does it actually come off? I haven't seen it come off.
It
does it open?
doesn't.
Oh, you got to climb through the Halo.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. Which is why that regulation has been opened up. Which, like that procedure and that rule is in place to save lives. And they've kind of said, well, actually, that's not quite important anymore.
Yeah.
Now we can lower that from 5 to 7 seconds because you need to get out of the Halo. It's like, okay, well, yeah, but fire doesn't slow down. If anything,
No.
it speeds up.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
It's just
It annoys me because it's not the right direction to go in.
I just hope that the cars have been made with the fact in the back of their head that they might vanish halfway through the season. I hope they're not.
I hope so.
I hope they're not.
I hope it's
I
another.
hope it is something you can just clip off.
Yeah, it pretty much will be. It's
Yeah.
not like I can't imagine it's exactly structural. But if you
No.
actually look at the top of a,
I just hope that if people agree on getting rid of it, I hope that they don't have to then go and
redesign everything. Yeah.
redesign it,
No, I can't.
because that would suck, and they probably wouldn't do it if that was the case.
I mean, that's not a bad shot, yeah. But you can see the top of the McLaren there, and you can see where the Halo is. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to zoom in,
Yeah.
and you can see that that's actually quite a large gap. Yeah, on the top.
Oh yeah, you can get. Well, it's a wider gap than the actual cockpit itself, so yeah, you can get something through it.
Exactly,
But-
such as a wheel, or I mean, I know it's not an exact science, right? And I'm sure these
Yeah.
people, these people who's designing it know
Flip-flop. Ever since I saw that photo,
flip flops.
it just
Yeah,
looks
absolutely.
like a flip flop. But like,
But even the makers of Halo themselves, like even the people who designed the Halo, said it wouldn't have helped Jules Bianchi's crash,
no,
which is the entire point of the Halo.
The Halo.
It's like saying,
That didn't
okay, well,
happen.
look, I need this. I need to get from Argentina to the Ukraine in, I don't know, 4 hours.
boat.
Okay, I need to make. I need a one-off vehicle, right?
Argentina, yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I
You
need.
need to invent a vehicle.
Yes, basically what I need is the Concorde.
but yeah,
Basically,
or a fighter jet or something. I reckon a
I don't
fighter
even think
jet
fighter
would do
jet.
it. A Concorde
Well,
was
some
faster than a fighter jet.
Probably not in maneuverability, but they reach Mach 1, which is the speed of sound.
So did
I'm
fighter
sure
jets,
fighter jets do. Okay, this is
a fighter jet might do it. Actually,
Which
I
one's
don't
more
know.
expensive?
Well,
Let's just say Concorde is
Well-
the least expensive. Let's just say
Concorde's airliner. I reckon That's a very good point. I don't know.
I'm sure military grade
Probably.
jets are more expensive.
It
But the
depends what
point
sort of
is,
jet you're going for.
is
A
like
missile
saying,
launching
right, I
jet,
need one right now. I need to be there in 4 hours. Like, well, we can't do it.
Yeah.
And then so fine, I'll just be late. And then they get there and it's like, we got you one.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you kind of missed the point.
Yeah.
That shows over. You lost. You didn't succeed. I mean, yes, there may be a situation in which you do need a Concorde to get from I don't know,
What would it used to do?
Texas to Pakistan
Didn't it used to
in
do
4 hours.
London to New York in like 2 hours, wasn't that?
I think it's
big?
3 hours. Yeah.
3 hours or something like that. That was this big thing. And like London to Paris in like 20 minutes, something like that.
Yeah. It's mental speeds.
do you know
Mental
what?
speeds.
I-
But
do
we
you know
went
what?
backwards.
I know, right? I was
Why?
going to say, why didn't they keep working on that? What was the speed the problem?
It wasn't safe enough.
Well, it wasn't safe enough.
Well,
sure, but
essentially
I'm
what
sure
hap-
the I'm
essentially-
sure the planes that we have today weren't safe when they first came out,
Yeah.
like cars and stuff.
Like, but
I would have thought they'd work on it. A faster plane would mean so much more for everything.
it would be
I've never thought about that before. Why did they stop there?
because there was a big crash where a Concorde went to take off and then flipped upside down and
Yeah.
landed on a hotel.
Yeah. I mean, that's tragic.
Yeah.
But
However,
there's been
Don't get rid of
many,
Concorde. Hey, look,
many plane crashes over the years.
there's also been many car accidents over the
Exactly,
years.
but we still develop them
But
and make them even
guess
quicker.
what? Exactly. Yeah. It's like
So why start with planes?
it's like okay.
Trains as well. Train crashes all the time, and then we make
Yeah.
Virgin trains, and Japan are doing crazy shit with trains and things
Yeah.
like that.
They are, and it's like the old locomotives, like the proper coal things, could go faster than some of the electric and the diesel ones that are now. I mean, yes, they're safer and they're more regulated and they're healthier for the environment, but
Doesn't make the nice smoke. Doesn't do choo choo.
yeah, except the nice smoke isn't nice,
not for the birds.
or for the anything else around them. But the point is that. Like, yes, you can sacrifice a small amount of speed for a lot in other areas. I understand
Yes,
that. It's
yes,
the same as Formula
yes.
1 in that respect. It's
Yeah.
the same as everything.
I'm
you
sure
know?
the drivers would prefer half a second than 50% more likely to die.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, it's like the 2004, 5, and... No, 2003, 4, and 5 cars were lightning quick. Like, if you look at lap records,
track records.
it's all from that era.
Well, they
all of
did. They
it.
start beating some last year.
They did start beating some last year,
Yeah.
but that's still 11 years later.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
they
yeah,
went
yeah.
backwards by 5 or so seconds.
Mm.
And if you threw, and that's not to say that if in 2005 you said design a car for the 2012 spec cars, that they'd be as fast as the actual 2012 spec cars. I mean, that's only 7 years, but that kind of progress is rather quick in Formula 1. I mean,
Yeah.
they're yearly projects on
Technology
top of each other.
advances so quickly. When I was using my GoPro recently, I had the Hero 5, and literally within a year, the Hero 6 came out.
Yeah, which is
And
so much better and so
every
much
year.
more.
Yeah, it's like
Same as the iPhone, except
yeah,
no.
exactly. It's especially in this case, like it's very minuscule things, but stuff like that. Like I was talking to someone who does a lot of filming, and instead, because I do a lot of sound stuff, so I don't mind buying equipment because sound stuff doesn't really age. Like
Yeah, fair dues.
like the mics we're using now, 57s have been around for years.
And they still work.
And they still work
absolutely
fine. They're industry standard. Dead cheap as well. But he was saying he never buys any cameras. He only
Can't.
rents
Yeah,
because
they
within
go
a
out of date
year,
so quickly.
his videos aren't going to look as good as other people's, and he's not going to be able to compete. Whereas, yeah, like I said, I've had these microphones for years, and they're fine.
Yeah, the
And it's-
depreciation in some technologies is massive.
Yeah, it's a
Absolutely
huge
massive.
development, and F1's the same.
F1 is the same, and
I
that's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
But if
Well, cars and just
cars and just technology, right? But if Apple were to say we're going to get rid of the screen because sometimes they smash,
yeah.
it's like no,
Let's
make
make
the
a
screens.
hologram.
Let's make the screens better, not
Yeah.
not get rid of them completely.
Let's put a halo over our screens so they don't smash.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same. It's like, well, I can't see all of it. I don't
Yeah.
know what I'm looking
I
at.
can't see my screen.
I can't see
yeah.
the driver's head. I can't relate to the driver's helmet. I can't fall in love with drivers the same when I can't see their
And I was
fucking
thinking
helmets.
when I was looking at this Bottas point of view, my favourite camera angle is the onboard one. Not the they did a few helmet cams last year, didn't they?
They did a couple, yeah.
But the one that's just like above their head, like the one you get in the game.
Just on the side.
I was thinking, is that going to be possible anymore? Like, above and to the right.
Oh, where the airbox is essentially.
Sort of. I love that angle, like the one that you get on the game.
Yeah,
that's my absolute favorite angle because I played that angle on the game, and I love seeing it
like
on TV.
Yeah, like you can relate to it.
You can relate to it, and you really feel
and
like
you can feel the
whoa,
speed and
that's
everything.
Pretty cool. Like that'd been scary if that was me. But now I don't think that's going to be able to happen.
Yeah,
I reckon the Halo is going to take up most of that screen space.
Yeah, but like from if you're because where the camera's mounted is on the roll hoop.
Yes,
on the top of the car, just above the airbox.
Yeah,
and you can see down and you can see the helmet. And I don't think that will change. There'll just be essentially a black ring in front of them.
But
that's fine. However, I know last year they used a lot. They used it a lot on Vettel's car where they had it just
above his shoulder kind of thing.
Yeah, just behind his shoulder. That's gone. I mean, they can't use that anymore, flat out.
They are introducing, in like NASCAR and IndyCar, the motorized 360 cameras. They look really cool. I think they're doing them this year, aren't they?
They did them a couple last years on certain front wings, but I hope all of them have this.
Because they're really cool.
Yeah, they are really cool.
Like when you're seeing an overtake and they pan with the car. It's great.
And they're they're really wide lens.
Yeah.
But something that Daniel Ricciardo raised when he drove it for drove the 2018 Red Bull car for the testing. It was a filming day. Yeah. Apparently, Daniel Ricciardo crashed it.
Did he?
Yeah. He
keep that hush.
he spat him off into the barrier, and no, it's common knowledge now.
Oh right.
Will found out before a lot of other people apparently. But it spit him off into a barrier, and he damaged the front wing and suspension floor, and that was it. And everything was perfectly fine. But Daniel Ricciardo raised a very good point, which was Halo in terms of visibility is absolutely fine on the flat tracks.
Right. So when, say, like Austria, when you're going up the hill.
Austria is a problem. USA. I mean, yeah. Spa. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, that's a good point. It will hinder your line, wouldn't it?
I don't know.
If it's at the right angle, which I'm sure at some point it will be on hilly tracks.
I'm sure it'll be like, okay, I've got to stare at this. Yeah.
Well, that's kind of like in a car. You got the blind spot where the window.
Yeah, the
frame
A pillars are.
Yeah, and that sometimes hinder your line.
Yep.
So it's the same.
Hinder your line. Well, okay, yeah, it hinders your visibility. I mean, I know what you mean.
Know what I mean. Like, if you're looking, you're trying to find the apex.
Yeah, on the occasion, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, no.
I get no, it's not.
But
I do understand that in a slight way.
Yeah. The Renault livery, by the way, is my favourite so far. The Red Bull, sorry. Absolutely love it.
I think that's gorgeous. Yeah.
It is. I really hope
it reminds me. It reminds me of Blue Tiger from Modern Warfare.
Yes, it does. It does.
1 and 2.
I really hope they keep it.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a testing livery this year. I don't know. I don't know if they'll change it. Livery. But I do like it. I very much like it.
Ferraris is a bit boring.
Renault is nice. The Ferrari,
I'm excited for McLaren Renault.
Yes, me too. But let's go back to just Ferrari briefly. It really looks like the 2009 car. If you look at the 2009 car compared to the 2018 car, excuse me.
I do like the amount of red they've got, but just the shape of it, I don't really like. It's not as. It's just something about it that I can't really pinpoint,
place,
but it's just the shape of it. The color, I do like the colors because I like it being all red. Yeah, it does actually. It's because that's so much nicer. Way nicer.
Yeah, the 2009. It's called the Ferrari F60. Apparently, I don't believe that. But from 2010 onwards, it had a lot more white on it. So there was the winglets on the wings themselves.
Which I don't understand. Ferrari isn't known for having white in it.
Yeah,
it's more of a red.
Here's a 2000. That's a 1998 car. That's got white on it. That's nice.
Yeah. But yeah, the McLaren Renault, I hope, can compete with the likes of Red Bull.
I
Hopefully, maybe
see McLaren have got
getting
something to
podiums
prove
and
right
stuff.
now,
Yeah.
and they
They
can't hide behind Honda. But
No, because Renault's proven to be a good engine supplier.
compared to Honda, yeah,
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
You know, a Renault car won a Grand Prix last year, or 2.
yes,
So-
they won 3.
3?
But Verstappen won
Verstappen
2.
got 2. Did Ricciardo get 1?
Yes, he won Azerbaijan.
Ah, yes, he did.
Um,
He didn't get that taken away from him, did he?
no, that was Stroll on the last lap.
Oh,
and he got
that's-
second to third.
Oh, no, I mean, like, he might have came second. Was it last season Ricciardo got... No, that was Australia, wasn't
Australia 2014, his
that was
first
ages
Red Bull
ago.
race, he got
Yeah.
disqualified for,
it? That was it.
Fuel
It was
flow.
his first one there, wasn't it?
and then just so happened Kevin Magnussen was that's the last time
Oh, he
McLaren were on the podium, and they had a
second,
double
didn't
podium
Yeah.
because it was second, third for
Yeah.
McLaren.
But
But
I'm looking
McLaren
forward
do
to it.
have something to prove because last year, I don't know if you remember,
Well, they were being praised for having the best chassis and things like that.
they
weren't
had the best. I think they had towards the end of last year they had the best chassis, and if you just kind of converted the mileage, it's like I can't remember. Was it Austin? I want to say Austin, where someone got pole. It was a Mercedes got pole, and Fernando Alonso came back into the, got whatever he did. I think it was like he qualified like 8th or something, and it was like that was a pole lap.
Right. But he just didn't have
Because
the power for it.
If because they worked out the amount of power that it was like, the Honda was down on the Mercedes, and they worked out it's about 1.6 seconds, and he was going to be on pole by about 0.2 seconds or something. And so if you kind of convert that to Renault, I don't think Renault are quite on par with Ferrari and Ferrari and Mercedes just right now.
But they would never give an engine to McLaren because they know. They
Exactly.
know those stats.
Yes,
So-
they do know those stats. And the thing is with
In fact,
McLaren
I'm
right
surprised
now,
Renault did as well, to be honest. Because
Renault
they're a dangerous team. McLaren.
had to, but because they want to get rid of Julian Palmer.
Oh, I see.
So they wanted originally Renault wanted Max Verstappen or Daniel Ricciardo, and Red Bull were like, you can fuck off. And so they're like, we'll give you Carlos Sainz though.
Mm.
So essentially Toro Rosso agreed to take Honda in turns for Carlos Sainz to go to Renault, which means
And so there was 4 engines.
Renault supplies McLaren, yes, and that rule, yeah, which I think is good for Honda. I'm glad Honda's still in the sport.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm just glad it's not hindering a team that could really have a lot of potential. Because I feel
exactly,
like
yeah,
when-
and they're designed to be a
Yeah.
middle of the pack
Yeah,
team,
yeah.
and basically if they start to go too high up, they Red Bull should just start hiring like crazy. But yeah, it's. I think this
think
year
it'll be a
is
good
going to really
season.
show. Yeah, I've got a really good feeling. Last year I had an okay feeling, but
and
it's
it
also
turned out
like
to
it
be
was
a
also
decent
doubt.
season, yeah.
Yeah, I mean it
There was
doubt in
actually
terms of McLaren,
competition last season for the first time,
which was good.
well, between
But-
two different teams, that is.
Yes, yeah, but 2016 was the last year. I think the last year that Rosberg, if Rosberg hadn't won it that year and hadn't retired, I don't think he would ever win one.
No.
And I don't think Mercedes would have won it last year
What if Rosberg
if
was in the
Rosberg
team?
stayed. That rivalry wouldn't have lasted
Wouldn't
much.
have helped them
wouldn't
out, would
have-
it?
No.
Yeah, 'cause
Especially
Bottas
not
is
with.
quite, especially in his
not
first
tame,
season there.
but-
But he didn't want to put a foot wrong, and he didn't.
Yeah, no, I don't think he did either.
But he didn't have the.
He
not so
made
much
some mistakes,
confidence,
but that was to be expected, and that's okay.
Yeah, especially if Rosberg did stay after winning it, that would have been even worse because he says, "Oh, I'm the world champion, so you give me priority."
Yeah, exactly.
and he'd expect to be treated as number one.
Yeah.
which
Well, I don't
would
think
have
he'd expect to
been-
be treated as
but
number
he- a
one.
priority.
But I also think he probably would have been a bit pissed off about how much they still treated
Yeah.
Lewis like the number
Yeah,
one.
exactly.
Because as much as you don't want to admit it, yes, there is.
He is a all-round better driver.
Hamilton.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But also Mercedes know that,
Yeah.
and they're not
But
going to put. They're not going to put. Rosberg only won it because Hamilton lost it, but we'll put that down to.
That was one of my favorite seasons though.
That was a great season.
That was a fantastic.
It was a thoroughly enjoyable season.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not saying, like 2010. I didn't like the fact that Vettel won it, but it was an excellent season. 2012, excellent
It's just
season.
when there's competition, it's a brilliant season.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who wins.
That's all they need to do. I don't care
wins.
about car developments or rule regulations. I just want to have no idea who's going to win a race while I'm watching it. Because when you sit down,
the first 7 races of 2012 was mental.
Amazing. But that's what I want it to be like. It's so boring.
I want it to be between
14, 15,
14s.
16. I'd sit down, watch the race, and I'd be like, well, Mercedes are going to win this.
Yeah.
And that's really shit.
And same with 2011 and 2013 with Red Bull.
Yeah, exactly.
110%.
Exactly.
It was
I know
just
he's going to win this. I know he's going to win this. I know.
2014 wasn't so bad.
But it was still
But it wasn't
predictable, great. No. And like, that's why I'm so glad we have the Premier League here, because every single match I watch, I do not know who's going to win it. And that's what it should be like. I love that.
I'm not... It shouldn't be 50-50.
No, obviously there are people who are always going to be better than others and more favourites. But the thing in the Premier League is,
there could be a shock result.
Fan. We beat City, we lost to Swansea.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there could be a shock result.
Beat the top, lost to the bottom.
Yeah. There's a shock result.
Exactly. It'd be like I would love it if, oh my god, Sauber got a podium or something like that. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, just like
without there being 15 crashes on the first turn.
But they can't. That won't happen, I'm afraid.
But like, I'd love that. That'd be ideal. And that's what I mean. That's all I really care about, is that it closes up a little bit.
Yeah. This has been a very formal one, heavy.
It has actually.
Podcast.
Do you know what I'm going to name this?
What?
Basically, if you don't like F1, don't listen to
it. Yeah. Yeah.
No, but it is what it is. It's a general podcast
about general things, which also just includes our likes and dislikes.
Exactly. Oh yeah, if you're
really
hoping for floristry or something like that, then you're not going to get it.
No, fuck off.
I know it's general, but you're not going to get it.
Yeah, okay. There's a general consensus about things that we like.
Yes.
Not just completely general. Otherwise, we're going to be. I don't want to talk about beige.
The things we like podcast.
.com.
.com?
No.
What are we?
What do you mean? What are we?
Why do you say .com?
I don't know. But we should probably make a website.
I can't get involved with that.
Okay.
I don't know how to do that.
Okay.
Without spending money.
However, that's true. I would like to date this podcast, because today is Friday the 23rd of February, and I'd like to go back to this in a year's time, or end of November, and I'd like to hear some predictions.
Okay.
Shall we go with constructors?
Mercedes.
Yes.
Purely because of consistency. But
yes.
I'm going to go out and say Hamilton isn't going to win the championship this year.
I think it will be a hell of a lot closer.
Mm.
We could see different constructors to different.
I think Mercedes will win the constructors
drivers,
because both of their cars are fantastic. Ferrari only have Vettel, really.
Yeah, which is a bit sad.
Red Bull has Verstappen. Ricciardo and Raikkonen are fantastic drivers. I don't want to take that away from them, but they're not.
No,
I just feel like
I would place Ricciardo just as highly as Max. I think he's excellent. However, I think he's got
aggressive, and
he is more aggressive. Yes, but I think Ricciardo has an element of calm.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. But it's like Bottas versus Hamilton. Consistency.
No, because I wouldn't
put it on Bottas.
No.
I think Hamilton can be reckless sometimes.
I don't think I think Hamilton can get demotivated. That's a big difference. I think he can just deflate
like a child kind of thing.
A little bit, yeah.
I don't want to do it.
But you put Bottas in a podium position, and he's going to give it everything. If you put let's say Bottas is in 8th, and he is half a second behind a group of 5 cars. Yeah, if he can get through those 5 cars, he's on the podium basically. Bottas is going to get the maximum out of his own performance. I don't think Hamilton I'm not saying he can't dig quite steep, but I don't think he can turn it on if he doesn't want to 110%.
I reckon if they both got dropped to,
let's say, Force India.
I was thinking that as well.
Yeah.
Bottas would be a better driver.
Bottas.
Because Hamilton's like, oh, well, I'm not in the best car, so screw it.
If what happened to Alonso happened to Hamilton, he wouldn't have been in the sport for
he would
5 years
left
already.
For something.
Yeah, he
probably pursuing his career in music.
Like a twat.
Or
fashion.
Or fashion, like a twat.
twat.
And the thing that I really didn't like 2 seasons ago with Rosberg, they both had a problem in Baku.
Oh, yeah.
Rosberg knew how to fix it because he did his research. And Hamilton just like a baby, pressed all the buttons. Like when something's broken, like for me on the TV and like you can't get the clicker working, like I just press all the buttons. Exactly.
Yeah. No,
he did that.
I completely agree with you.
And that's where
but I think that's because like if you look, I don't even remember, but
this is what I mean. If he was in a worse car, he would. It's only because he has the best car. He's not the best driver on the grid by a long shot.
Yes.
No.
He is. I think him, Vettel, and Alonso are just as good as each other.
Verstappen,
isn't as good.
Verstappen, Vettel, Alonso.
Vettel is slightly
Bottas.
Worse.
I love Bottas.
I like Bottas, but he's not got. He
didn't do what I thought he would do in his first season. I'm hoping he'll step up. Going back to the predictions, I think he will have a better season than he did.
Oh, he should do. If he doesn't, he's made a mistake.
Yeah, but at Williams, he was amazing.
He was amazing.
Really good at Williams.
He was really good, and I think that's just because he was outperforming his team, essentially. But I don't think he is in Mercedes just yet. But I don't even remember Azerbaijan qualifying. Hamilton hit the wall.
Yeah. And did his
he broke his steering track rod. I think he was in 10th. He started in 10th.
Yeah, because it was
that kind of thing. I think demotivates him loads. It's the same as if you look at him. If you look, I can think of 3 examples. That one, Monaco 2017, and Mexico 2017.
Yeah,
he can't if he's just slightly demotivated, he can't do it. And I can't, that's just his problem. That's his one fault.
I've got a fantastic analogy of this.
Right.
You know when you're playing the game, he is the sort of person who will be like, oh, I didn't get that line right, let me rewind. He'd do that. And Bottas would sort of be like, oh, screw it. I remember that, I'll do it right next lap. He would be like, oh, I didn't get it right, let me just rewind and redo it again.
So he'd But then if you got that power, you would do that.
And
I think if he doesn't get things right first time, he can't. He doesn't like it.
Yeah.
But he gets a lot of it right first time.
Yes.
And Alonso's the same, and just they're both super consistent, and both can have their off days. Vettel can sometimes also throw his his toys out of the pram. So can Max,
which was one of my favourite moments last year.
Yes,
but that was also really bad at the same time.
Awful.
Yeah.
But I don't think Ricardo.
What was the one?
Ricardo's so consistent.
So angry though. He was. I remember
it
one
was
particular
Monaco
race.
2016 when Red Bull fucked up his
it cost him the race, didn't it?
And it did cost him the race, and it went to Rosberg.
That's the only time I've ever seen him
fuming,
show negative emotions.
Yeah.
Oh, and when he called Verstappen a
sore fucking loser. Yeah. Gave him the middle finger.
Yeah. In
sore loser,
wasn't it?
Yeah. 2017. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
other than that,
I don't. Yes, but that's not. None of those faults were down to him. No. Both of those faults were down to him. I think Lewis, if he fucks up, he gets totally demotivated. He's just like, I don't want to do it, kind of thing. He just sulks.
He does sulk.
He does
Perfect
sulk.
Word for it. He sulks. So does Vettel.
Vettel sulks.
Remember when he was threatening to leave F1, or Red Bull as a team?
Yeah.
Like,
when was that?
I can't remember. I know it happened.
But he did threaten something. It was just like, fine, then go, mate.
Him or Red Bull? Was it the engine changes?
No,
What
but
was it for?
Ferrari threatened to leave last year.
Well, anyway,
because of the well, I
what
mean,
was it? Oh, that's really gonna bug me. Red Bull. I remember vividly. Red Bull were like,
Red Bull did
we're
want to
not
quit
playing
at some
anymore.
point. Yeah, and it was just like, grow up,
yeah, it's
take some
happening
tough
to
seasons,
everybody.
get on with it, and prove yourself to be like, learn from it. Don't sulk.
No.
You know, it is just sulking, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it like, I don't think there's any clear answer on who's the best driver and who's the worst driver and blah 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 blah. But I don't think there is any clear answer between Max Verstappen and Daniel Ricciardo,
no.
because
Well, if you look at the drivers' constructors last year, that proves it. Ricciardo finished on top, even though I thought Verstappen was a better driver. So
exactly, I think
at the end of the day,
Max Verstappen, I think
points
in terms of
prove it.
championships, they're probably very similar. In terms of like lighting one perfect race on fire,
Yeah.
Max hands down.
Yeah.
I think Max can just create epic chances, and epic races and moves. I don't think Daniel Ricciardo, not that he doesn't have that, but he doesn't do that as often.
But he certainly is more consistent.
But he's more consistent, and he's in less trouble.
Anyway,
and I can only think of one accident that Ricciardo was in last year, and it involved Max Verstappen.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
yeah. So anyway, yeah. So my predictions. God, we went off a little bit there. My predictions.
Shall we
Mercedes.
say top four first, and then we'll break it down to
top
bottom.
4 constructors and then drivers?
No.
Right.
Okay. Well, the way I was going to do it was top 4
Drivers.
Well, we do constructors first. Top 4 constructors, then the bottom 5.
So everyone.
Oh no.
Basically, just do an order.
Yeah.
Right. Top 4 and bottom 1 for both.
Yeah. Okay.
Drivers. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Mercedes top.
You go and then I'll go.
Right. Mercedes first. Ferrari second. Red Bull third. McLaren fourth. My. That's what I think. I want something different. I want Ferrari, Mercedes, McLaren, Red Bull.
Right.
Realistic. I mean, what I really would want is McLaren.
Yeah.
But that's not going to happen.
No.
In my head, think on logically, Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull, McLaren. But what I would love to see,
Me
that's
too.
still realistic.
That's what I
is
think.
Ferrari, Mercedes, McLaren, Red Bull. That's what I'd love to see. That could potentially happen.
That it's like right. Well,
Because obviously McLaren aren't.
Yeah, I don't think I think they could bag a win. I think McLaren could bag a win.
That would be a prediction I'd make.
And
they'd is Alonso to get
a win.
at least a podium.
Oh God, yeah. Oh yeah.
He'll
at
get on the
least
podium. One of their drivers.
God,
will
we're
get on
gonna
the
be
podium
so
this year.
wrong in a year, aren't we?
And then bottom, probably Toro Rosso with the Honda.
Yeah. My predictions are the exact same as yours. See, one team.
Go on, then you do drivers first, then.
Okay. Drivers.
I'll see if I agree. Top 4 and bottom.
I can't say. Okay. I can't decide between Vettel or Hamilton.
That's good though. That's what you want. For
That is what you want. I think one of them, like Vettel, is either going to be first or second, and Hamilton's either going to be first or second. I think then Ricciardo.
Right.
And then I think Alonso.
Bloody hell. I wouldn't have said him on the top 4. Love to see it. Another thing I'd love to see. I wouldn't have said that.
One thing about Alonso, and this is why I think he is one of the best, joint best
grid,
drivers on the grid, is that he gets everything
yeah.
always out of the car.
Yeah.
And if you expect anyone to throw up a spanner in the works and put in a surprise result and
A Spaniard in the works.
and get a freak podium or a freak second place or first, it's Alonso.
Mm.
It just is. I can't see anyone going like.
Well, he's very much like what you just said about Verstappen. Is he is likely to just
light up a race, yeah. And just make
Not
it his own.
Not consistently, but
that's down to the McLaren.
It's down to the car, exactly. And this is the thing that has gone wrong with F1. It's down to the car now.
No.
Well, 75%. There's only so much a driver can push.
I think it's a 60-40
last year.
I think it's a 60-40, but I don't think it's down to the car. I think that's down to the regulations. I know the regulations create the car, but you know, if you just put 100% tires on it that last the entire race and just go no pit stops, and you're flat out forever. You know, like you. Okay, let's say
it's just a long straight like salt plains kind of.
No, I do want to talk about that just briefly in a minute. I don't know if we talked about it last week. Did we talk about land speed records?
No, we talked about.
I'll get to that in a minute.
Oh
yeah, that's good. Which kind of goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
So, I think if there was essentially a tyre that allowed someone, like a race, say at Silverstone, where there was 52 laps and the first 26 you were on one tyre and the second 26 you were on the exact same tyre that allows you to push just as much. You know, like you know, like no barely any fuel regulations. You just 100% cane it everywhere. Engines turned up all the way. Blah blah blah. I think that's when the best drivers show.
Yeah.
And I think that's why people like Valtteri Bottas and Kimi Räikkönen actually can hide behind. Everyone rates Kimi Räikkönen highly. I think he's a great driver, but I don't think he's anywhere near as great as he was. But I don't think if that kind of regulation was the case, I just don't think Kimi Räikkönen could keep up.
No,
not with someone like Vettel as his teammate. And I think that's where kind of people like Ricciardo can have a bit of an easier time because they're more consistent. So stuff like that. But yeah, I think in terms of drivers, my blah blah blah, my predictions goes Hamilton, Vettel. What did I say?
Verstappen, Ricciardo, Alonso.
Ricciardo, Alonso. Yeah, I think bottom is going to be Christian Eriksen. Now I do predict Toro Rosso will be last. However, I think Charles Leclerc could throw up some things. Christian Eriksen I don't rate at all. I rate him in terms of money, and so do Salvo Alfa Romeo. Christian Eriksen, Marcus Eriksen. Christian Eriksen is the Spurs player. Yeah, so I think
I really had to think about that one though.
Yeah, they do just go together.
Which.
I saw someone do it.
Wait, is the footballer Marcus?
Yes, and they're also Danish and Swedish, but I think it's all Scandinavian. I think Marcus Eriksen will be last. But just an interesting quick point. I'd like to say Force India are a bit of a blackjack, and
they were last season.
They could throw up.
Had a few fourth places, didn't they?
Yeah, and I think if because they're very consistent again. I think either if McLaren don't get that fourth place, it could be because of Force India.
Yeah.
And what I really am sure about is Force India is going to be the best of the rest, essentially. Going on to land speed record. No, sorry, you go.
I would have said you go. I'd say just to be different, Vettel, Hamilton.
Okay.
But then Bottas third, and probably Ricciardo fourth.
Yeah. Okay.
I think Alonso top six. I think
maybe Bottas could go.
I think he'll get third.
I think Bottas could be in there, but I just can't see him beating Hamilton or Vettel.
No.
And I can't see.
But then if Verstappen has a consistent season, and he had a lot of problems last season, if he has a consistent season, he could potentially win it.
Oh yeah, no. But if he has a very similar season to last year, then I don't think he's in the top 4.
No, I think they would work on that.
Yes, and I'd hope he would, because then I'd place Ricciardo and Vettel next to each other.
Yes.
Sorry, Ricciardo and Verstappen next to each other. Whether that is, one of, I don't know who'd be in front of who. Going on to land speed records briefly, I went to the Coventry Transport Museum a couple of weeks ago. Very interesting land speed. One of the few things that was actually interesting there. That's a lie. A lot of it was interesting. But this is the one thing that really stands out. And they had like a just a visualization of the land speed records throughout the years. And they had, the earliest one was 1927. What do you think that land speed record was?
Not a train.
No, it's a car. It's a guy named Craig Breedlove.
What do you mean what it was? What the actual
miles
per hour, not the vehicle? In
1927.
That would, I mean, what could cars get up to? I'm going to go with, say, 86 miles per hour.
No, 103.
Oh, okay. Oh, so they broke the 100 mark.
They did break the 100 mark. But I looked at that and I thought, God, that is a death-defying speed in 1927. In 2018, like, I hit it on the motorway.
Holy shit!
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly. Like that. I mean, that guy was literally mental. But
my horse doesn't go this fast.
Or my train.
Well, my train.
No,
I'm not gonna say that.
Okay, I don't want to know. But I mean, I hit. I don't want to say it
On a track.
but yes,
On the track.
why not?
What did you hit on the track?
103, 4, whatever it was on the big thing. But I was like,
On the big long track. That kind of looks like the A41.
it wasn't on the A41. Definitely wasn't on the A41. I mean, I've gone the wrong way if I go down the A41 on to Coventry.
Oh yeah. Oh, I see what you mean. On
the way to
on the way
Coventry.
to Coventry to see the record being broke.
I broke the
stopped
record.
off at a track. You stopped off at a track.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I keep forgetting about that bit.
Broke the record.
Yeah. No, what I tell you what it is just my speedo is broken.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so it tells me I'm doing.
Tells you you're doing 102 and you're really doing 127.
Well, I would neither confirm nor deny. But exactly. And 2 years later, they broke it to 130. Same guy, right? And it's like, yeah, I mean, like I've hit. I remember going down the A5 in my dad's car, and we hit 128 down.
But I know what you mean. How it's just like
it's just effortless.
It's effortless.
Like
Effortless.
I could put my foot down and just go.
For him,
and I will
was
reach that mile an hour.
Bone-shattering speed.
That was I
every
could die.
drop of power that thing had.
Well, not power. They were quite powerful. It was just the efficiency of them. They just they'll put in. They'll essentially put in half the pound to the nuts and bolts that were holding it in.
True, that is true.
Into the fucking chassis. They weren't actually.
Is the right
they
word.
weren't actually pulling it into the engine.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember seeing a blimp engine that had 5,000 horsepower, and like when I don't know if you've ever seen
5,000.
Yeah, exactly.
Sticking that in my car.
And that's a lot. But that would never work.
It would never work.
Because it still wouldn't be very
love
fast.
to give it a go.
But like it'd be essentially sticking. It's essentially a normal engine, but just like so we can see a correlation. The more cylinders, the better. More cylinders. Yeah. Just like, but that growth, fun enough, is not exponential. It won't go up smoothly. It goes. Okay, yeah. There's 32 cylinders now, and we still only have as much as we had when we had 28 in it.
Exactly. Such a thing as too much.
Exactly. Yeah, and that kind of efficiency doesn't work. So exactly. But it was just like
that is like putting 5,000 horsepower in my car.
It just won't work. It will just the engine will move. Your car won't.
Just like flies out the front.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm actually propelled backwards.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you might go 100 miles an hour just in the wrong fucking direction. But exactly.
Negative figures.
Yeah. Wow.
The graph goes so far down.
Yeah, you've gone into the ground. You're mole man now. Excited for the Incredibles movies.
Underground speed record.
I'm sure that's actually pretty slow. We should try and beat that.
Well, trains go underground.
Yeah, fucking trains ruining it for everyone.
Yeah. Quick note: did you see the police chase in LA the other day?
No.
And I should have done this with a news article at the start. In GTA, when you want to avoid the police, you drive through the underground train tracks.
Oh yeah. Oh, you idiot!
He went straight through a tunnel, and
how far did he get?
There was a helicopter chasing him. No police cars. He got away from the police cars. So he's obviously played video games. And he thought, well, I need to go underground.
Well, I mean, I get it, but like also
oncoming train.
Oh, you fucking idiot! But also,
because he was fine apparently. Because he got out and they caught him about half an hour later, and people were saying they would love to see just like a manhole cover pop up, man X's it in a perfectly clean suit, just disappears into the night. That'd be amazing.
Smooth. The perfect crime.
But it's been 51 minutes.
Oh shit! Right. Okay. First of all, I don't know if you've ever seen. There's a video of someone basically crossing some train tracks, and they went off of the. They went off of like the road bit and they went onto the actual train tracks themselves.
Oh yeah,
and you know your entire suspension travel is the train track, so like you're not going anywhere on that. Or back to the something just very interesting is that this Craig Breedlove guy, I think it was this guy. He was the first person to reach 400 miles an hour. He's the first person to reach 500 miles an hour, and he's the first person to reach 600 miles an hour.
Bloody hell.
And it was like, oh, that's fast.
He just likes speed.
And basically he, something that's just a very interesting point. I can't remember exactly what the ones in between 1927 and I think the last one was like 2003 or something. But basically between I think it was 1997 actually, not 2003. But between 1980, the year we were born, between 1980 and 1997, guess how many miles an hour we broke the record by?
Between 97 and
1980. I think it's like 1980. It was like 27 years. So, so
it's either going to be dead small or dead high.
I would also like to point out that there was a record in between that stood.
Right.
And I looked on the Google.
22 miles an hour.
Close. 33.
I just had a feeling it was going to be low.
It was low. I actually looked on the.
What was it in 97, just out of interest?
Well, in 1980 it was 603. In the mid...
Well, I bet we haven't really developed it that much now.
No. Well, yes, actually, but I'll go into that. They had also a record showing from 1989 kind of thing, and that was 630 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And then so in about like I think it was like 13 years or something. It wasn't quite 1980, but it was like 13 years. They made 3 miles an hour. They went from 630 to 633. Now they are at, I believe, the fastest one was just under Mach 1.
Is this land speed?
Yes.
Right.
And there is a...
It's not the Bloodhound, is it?
The Bloodhound is hasn't actually been run yet officially, but they were going to make a light test for 600 miles an hour. They're going to say, yeah, let's just try and reach 600 because they want to reach 1,000 miles an hour. Yeah. But they want to reach 1,000 miles an hour. They're calling it the 1K Club. Which is fucking cool.
Population 1.
But yeah, and essentially, I think they were doing it somewhere in the Salt Flats in South Africa, and they had, I think it was like 6 or 7 kilometers of hand sweeped road to get around.
But I bet that's eaten up pretty quickly.
Huh?
Bet that's eaten up quickly.
Yes.
But I was watching the SpaceX launch.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
And that did 100 kilometers in
3 minutes or something.
30 minutes. Right. When I am chuffed.
Yeah.
I am chuffed.
No, it's not. I don't know. Go ahead.
I think it was.
I don't know if you actually.
No. Was it 13? I should have really fucking researched this.
Yeah,
this is very unprofessional. I think it might be 13.
It doesn't matter.
Fill it in.
Okay.
Fill.
One thing about just while we're on. Okay, no. Let's stay on the land speed records. I can't remember. Fuck. Shit. Doesn't matter. The SpaceX. We'll stay with SpaceX then. That didn't happen.
That's really bad feeling.
The Tesla launch. They wanted to get it into the Mars orbit, didn't they?
The car.
Yeah.
Yes.
They overshot. They just threw as much of, their power as they could. I can see Scott's face right now. It is.
I was so
wrong. Yeah, I was going to say it doesn't sound right, but basically,
100 kilometers in 3 minutes.
That's what I said.
22 seconds.
That's what I said.
I knew it was 3 something.
That's good. That's good.
Now this makes my point even more
impressive. Yeah.
When I'm running, I am so chuffed when I do 5K in sub 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I am like, yes, I am quick. And in order to do that, I need to keep every kilometer under 4 minutes.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll put in like a 3:40 and then slowly get slower and end up on like 4:10, but that still get me underneath it.
Yeah.
So my quickest ever
average.
kilometer ran is 3 minutes 34. It did 100 kilometers in less than that.
Yeah.
100 kilometers in
technically
less
it's
than
100 times faster than you.
That doesn't seem like a lot though.
No.
For a rocket, does it? Sure,
No, I guess
I'm
it
quite
doesn't.
proud of that.
Wait, I guess it would. I don't know if my maths is correct.
That would be
actually.
right, wouldn't it?
I guess. I
Do you know
guess.
what? I'd be really chuffed if that is actually right. SpaceX is only 100 times quicker than me.
Yeah, I was about to say. It's about to say that it's funny. Like 200 years ago, before really trains was the fastest we can go is probably 30 mile an hour on a horse. And that and then all of a sudden we went from 30 mile an hour to 100 on a train, and then we went to we gone to 600 kind of thing, and backwards again with Concorde. You know, like we gone from Mach 1 to just slightly lower, about half Mach 1, so that's slightly disappointing. It's just shitty as hell to get just to go backwards. And the thing is the thing most, or just end it on, the thing most impressive about SpaceX, it was the most powerful, or the Falcon Heavy launch, it was the most powerful rocket ever launched, and half of it came back to the ground untouched.
I know, it's a shame, isn't it?
Yeah.
It could have went, but...
Well, I don't know if you saw the two simultaneously land.
Yes. Amazing.
It was incredible.
My favourite thing is when they separate from... the stage separates, and then my favourite thing was how it did a perfect 180 in unison, and then it activated rockets.
Yeah.
Again. That is just like, wow.
Oh, yeah.
That is insane.
That is
if that didn't spin, that would have potentially then crashed into the other rocket.
I mean, it's crazy. It's
so much could go wrong.
So
or if it only did a 90 degree, it could face down and potentially be a missile.
Essentially, yeah. I mean, it's incredible
some more
just how many things can go wrong and how right it went.
And I bet there was some fluids in there that were probably flammable and explosive that were still in there when it landed. And if that crashed into the earth,
I guess, yeah. I mean, it wouldn't have been great.
A house or
but well, no, because they because it's in Nevada, isn't it? That they did the test and
but I'm sure it flew away pretty far.
Desert. Yeah, but in terms of
did 100K in 3 minutes.
Yes, I mean, I don't know if you saw. I don't know if you saw the live feed, but it was like, taken off, and then the three other rockets separated on it, and you could see Africa.
I know,
and it was like, oh god, that that's suddenly gone. It's just so far.
Dead quickly, really quickly to finish it off on. I was in the World Museum at Liverpool the other day. This is a story for next week.
Okay.
I'll talk about it.
Can you write it down then?
Yes, I will. But quickly staying on space, there was an astronomy and time and shit like that section at the top. World Museum.
Ooh.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
Apart from the one thing that I'll tell you next week.
The History Museum in London is excellent.
Fucking pissed off at, but I'll tell you that next week. But anyway, they had a video from about 6 months ago, and like a load of people from the museum were talking to one of the astronauts in space. I believe it's the guy who did the marathon up there as well, that famous guy.
Oh,
he sang David Bowie and shit like that.
yeah.
And this kid was like 5 years old, and he's like, "Well, can you see out your window?" Because they're doing a live stream to each other, and he was like, "Well, currently I can see Africa, and I can also see Brazil." It's like in one eye view.
Yeah.
In one eye view, seeing 2 countries. It's crazy. But
Look,
this
two
is
continents.
over an hour.
2 continents.
This is over an hour.
2 continents.
So
yeah, this has been one of our longer ones.
this was the one that was meant to be the shortest
Sorry.
one. We were running a very long time here.
Okay, bye-bye. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. Nice to speak to you again.
Yeah. Nice for you to listen to us. Ta-ra.
Bye.